Okay, we're here again with Pero Cameron. Pero, I just want to have a talk about what's the focus for training for a coach. So if you've got a club team or a representative team, what's sort of the thought process that goes into you about what you want to do with your training for the week and I guess for the season as well?
I think when you establish your team and you pick your team, you'll know some of the weaknesses and strengths of your team, and if you play a couple early preseason games, it'll reveal itself where you need to develop some of the skills of some of the kids, and then that determines how you set up your training. You know, if you could be a strong offensive team, and you can see that in the games or trials, but there may be weaknesses there. You need to address those weaknesses and set a plan and training how you can keep touching and going back to it and get the point across where the kids need to develop certain skills and things that they lack in, that are important to the team going on. I think also teams will put their hand up. Players put their hand up and say, yeah, we're not a very good rebounding team. Introduce a rebounding drill and try and put it together with something else that goes on to something offensive the other way. You might be poor at defensive transition. You can double up there and take care of both in the same drill. But really acknowledge a couple of things they do well. So if they are very good at getting to the basket and laying up, get to the foul line, acknowledge what they did well so they know they can carry it on. It doesn't need too much work. It might be a brief touch on it with a drill or an emphasis on telling one guy what they did in a game or training really well, and that's what the team can acknowledge and move forward to. But really plan your training out well, understand defense and offense is both critical, and there's many ways to win a game. A lot of coaches don't concentrate that much on defense, and I think that's one of the hardest things to learn, is understanding how to play individual defense and team defense, and just look at a couple concepts there, because not every player is a great shooter, but they may be a great defender, and you've got to get that out of them.
One of the things I see a lot with coaches is the focus on winning now, achieving, so especially in the juniors. So they play a game on Saturday, they might recognise that, yep, we didn't rebound well, and our defensive transition wasn't good. So then they spend the next week really focusing on that, just because they want to win. And I think it's really important with that planning of a season's training that you must check off the things that you got to make sure these kids are developing. So it's probably, I guess it's good not to be too reactionary as well, and stick to the fact that these kids need to have building blocks.
Yeah, I think if you keep going back and touching on those foundation skills of how to slide off a player full court, you may only have to touch on that. You know, you may want to do a denial drill on the wing, or and introduce pack defense of how to help everybody out. If you're a small team, pack defense is really crucial. I think if you're a big team, you want the players driving in at your bigs and trying to finish on your bigs. There's a lot of different ways to analyze it. But you're right, you need to make sure you're on top of all the different things that is needed, and at least acknowledging it. Questions, talking to the kids prior about what happened on the weekend, or how can we be better in setting those goals of going forward, so that the kids understand it.
One of the things that I've also noticed is, especially representative level and club, there seems to be at training time, there seems to be a lot of shooting practice from coaches. My personal view is that if there is going to be shooting, it should be contested shooting, game situational shooting, and kids can go down to the park and put in work on their shot. I think that's something that our coaches need to be aware of, that they don't need so much of that, especially uncontested shooting.
Yeah, it depends on the level. Again, like we're 4 divisions. It's always good to start off with some just basic catch and shoot things, and run out and get your rebound, pass it back out, and you can develop and get to some contested shooting. But it always seems that you don't get enough shooting in training. We need to teach the kids that you go find some time and get on a shooting machine, get somewhere in a park where someone can rebound for you, and you get the volume up, and then you may make it competitive with a one-on-one drill.
Anything else about training? I guess coaches need to be aware of, warming up and winding down aspects of it, making sure the kids are getting water, and all just the general sort of health aspects of it, I guess. There's a lot of focus on workloads. So as a coach, you should be across what your kids are doing, what other sort of activities they're doing, I guess.
Yeah, having a sit-down plan of what your team is doing, what your players are doing. Some will be more active than others, and just understand that not more doesn't mean good for the individual. Some kids might just need get that rest time in and do some basic shooting or stretching. We just got to manage the time they're on the floor and how many games they're playing, how many trainings they're doing, and what other workloads that are affecting the child physically, but also mentally as well. Schoolwork is a huge kind of workload at the end of the year, especially with exams and the older kids. Just got to manage that and be aware of it so that they don't burn out, and once they burn out it might take 2 or 3 weeks for them to come back, so just got to manage those things.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Pero. I really appreciate that.
Cheers.